Hey everyone, Dan here with more of your emails. I had a flood of them over the past couple of weeks. High time we got into them, and let's do it right now. Thanks to everybody who took part. If you want to send in your email, you're more than welcome to do so. Here's that all-important email address. Question 1 comes from Angela in Manchester, and she says that the GoFundMe page is closed at long last. 72 grand. Discuss. Well, Angela, to be honest, that's all we ever wanted was the GoFundMe page to be closed. We are well aware there was a target set of 30 grand that was exceeded, and it had continuously risen, and it went up as far as 72,000. Now, I think everyone would be under the impression that it's no problem to set up a GoFundMe page, but when a target is set, it should be closed, and it went on way too long, and that was one of the reasons why many people took exception for it. But the good news, as you suggest there, is that the GoFundMe page is closed, and Debbie has said on record that all the money has gone to the mission of finding Jay Slater, and indeed it went to the people who did the rescue. So I think we have to take it at her word. That can't be disputed. If that's what she says, I have no reason to disbelieve her. I think the big question surrounding it all was the fact that the GoFundMe page went on way too long, being honest. And at least now it is at an end, and the money has been used for the right purpose, regardless of the amount. And it was apparent from really the start, from when 30 grand was raised, that was the target, but then it went further. But the answer to your question is the GoFundMe page is closed. That is a good thing. That was the only thing I think people were concerned about, that it should be closed and the money should be given to the right people. And it appears, on record at least, and according to Debbie, that the money has been used for the right purpose. So in that sense, with the GoFundMe page closed, with the money given out, I think that is really a good thing, and it had to happen, and at least it has happened now. It should have happened a lot sooner. Okay, thanks for your question. Let's get into question 2. Barry's in the Channel Islands. Will we ever see the case solved? It's been going on so long now. People's appetite for this case is so slowly but surely going away. Barry, I can see your point completely. It's a matter that is ongoing, but you see, I'm afraid this is a marathon, not a sprint, and all these things do take time. Unfortunately, I'm not sure what's going on with the family. They haven't shouted off the rooftops that they're looking for justice for Jay Slater. That's an opinion that they can only express themselves. It's quite surprising that they haven't, but if it was anybody else's son, I'm sure they would get justice and be shouting for justice and would get people to listen to them, but apparently they're not doing it, and for whatever reason, we don't know. You can speculate all you want, but it's very unusual. Maybe they've just thrown in the towel and accepted the fact that they can't do anything about it, and that's the situation that it is. It's coming up to Christmas. It's going to be a hard time for all the family to lose a loved one at any time, but especially when you had the media glare on it and it's been magnified so much and by so many people. It is hard to speculate why the family would not seek justice for Jay Slater. But there is some of us here that will pursue justice and will keep going until we get it. It's a long road, and we know the people who are behind this little organisation, and their day is coming, and it's coming rather soon, and they will get punished. But one would hope that they would get tagged with this awful crime that has happened to Jay Slater as well. But for that to happen, of course, people have to come forward. People have to tell the real story. People have to tell it like it is. And so many so-called friends of Jay Slater's weren't his friends. They're scum of the highest regard. They're nothing but drug dealers out to make money for themselves, and the only people at the end of the day they care about is themselves. They don't give a toss about anybody else. Never have, never will. They've been known drug dealers of the past, and these people will never change, despite running underground and saying different things. And in actual fact, most of them have gone into hiding and are outside of UK at the moment. That's what we're being told by many different sources. Anyway, Barry from the Channel Islands, thanks for your email. Again, if you've got an email, or indeed you want to add to this conversation, maybe you've information that you'd like to add, you can do it on a confidential basis. You can do it with this email address here, and of course, we'll never quote you. Question 3 comes from Melissa. Melissa's in Glasgow. Police have had lots of evidence, but won't act on it. Melissa, you make a great point, and it is correct. Over the past, 5 to 6 weeks, we've been trawling this, and we've eventually found a couple of reputable sources who tell us that the police have lots of evidence, but they're not going to act on the Jay Slater case simply because for a couple of things. Number one, Jay Slater's incident happened on foreign soil. They're not going into getting into conflict with the Spanish police. They've no jurisdiction there for starters. That's what they're going to peddle, and that's what they're going to say. But we've been told off the record that the real reason the British police won't act is because they have been told in no uncertain terms that the 2 drug organisations that we've mentioned in the past, they're well known. One of them has got FBI connections, and also they're based in Dubai, and they're going to get their comeuppance. And here is the real deal. These people are the big fish. These people want to get done by the police at the highest level. And unfortunately, and we say this with the greatest respect, the likes of the Jay Slaters, who are very, very important in the greater scheme of things, are not important enough to pursue justice for at this point in time. It is an awful thing to say, but that's what we've been told, and there is a lot of evidence to point in that direction. If the Jay Slaters of this world had money at their back, you can rest assured that this case would have been pursued at the highest level. But the British police, being the British police, are no better than the Spanish police and will not act on it. And of course, they are peddling the same line as they've been fed from the Spanish police all along, which is they need to catch the bigger fish at this moment in time. And that is going to happen in the not too distant future. So I'm afraid the Jay Slaters of this world are being branded as insignificant. They're not. They're people that deserve justice. They need justice, they need closure, which they haven't got at all. And of course, what they really, really need is they need to know what exactly happened to Jay Slater, because no one at this moment in time can give a proper timeline of what happened to Jay Slater from when he left the nightclub, which amazingly, surprise, surprise, no footage exists right now. It did in the past, but it doesn't now. What happened to Jay Slater when he left the nightclub, and his so-called, and I say this, his so-called remains were found in this famous ravine, which none of us buys, let's be honest about it. There's been several theories being floated around, and this has been going on for months, and not one person can say for definite what happened to Jay Slater from the minute he left the nightclub until his so-called remains were found. And that is the nub of the matter. You can predict, speculate all you want, but that is the real reason. His so-called friends are spinning yarns of lies. From day one, it is very hard to believe anything they say. All this crap about going up to this wild goose chase and this B&B, bullshit. Jay Slater was never there. The other 2 people were never there. It was all a load of tosh, and he did not fall and stumble into a ravine being out of his head with drugs and drink. This was another narrative being pushed out there by fools who, at the top, we all know, millions have been spent by drug cartels to kill this story. Millions. And it's been floated from the top down, right down to Jay Slater's friends. All these been fed this narrative, this bullshit. All this is there for one reason and one reason only, and it is there to distract. Distract. The more you can distract, the more you can disrupt the narrative. And look, it has been going on for months. Let's face it, No one has a timeline from the minute Jay Slater has left the nightclub. There's been various theories, none proven, and that is the current situation. But once again, it is a great question, and we thank you indeed, Melissa, for asking, and it was well put together. Thank you for that. Jonathan's in Tenerife for question number 4. Why are so many of Jay Slater's friends lying low? Very simply, look, they've got bigger fish to fry now at this stage. All drug dealers, all out to make money. They want to lie low and get out of the UK, and they're in various parts of the world at the moment. Guess what they're doing? They're trying to get more mules to do what Jay Slater did, unfortunately. And it's happening worldwide, and we went into depth before of how it's happening, and it's just an ongoing process. Drugs is rife in the world. Drugs is rife in every town, every village. It's there where you are. It's at the end of the phone. You don't have to go to a big city anymore to gain drugs of any description. They're on your doorstep if you want them. And Jonathan, as always, thanks for your email. And if you'd like to get in touch, by all means, do so. Let us know. And get in touch if you have anything to add to the conversation. Maybe there's something we've missed. There's always a possibility of that. Do let us know. Question 5 right now. Why will Jay Slater's friends not appeal for justice? I'm afraid, you see, Jay Slater's friends cannot be trusted in anything, and they really couldn't care less about anyone but themselves. And Jill asked this question from Liverpool. Thanks, Jill, for that. You see, Jill, when you're involved in drugs, you really don't care about anybody else. The only one that's important is yourself, and you want to make more and more money. You want to sell more and more drugs. You want to recruit more and more mules. And it's an ongoing process, and this all filters through, and this is how the money machine goes. And I'm afraid once you get caught up, involved in this so-called lavish lifestyle that you think will never end, there's only one way out, and it is not a nice way. But Jill, we thank you for your question. That's our 5 questions for today, and we got so many that we have one more bonus question to go. And John is in Somerset. Thanks, John. No one knows the real story. Will this crime ever be solved in the future, or are we getting any closer? I think we touched on it before, John. The problem with this is that lots of people, I'm afraid, think that this is just like an episode of Blue Bloods, that something happens and something is solved within the hour. I'm afraid in the real world, that never happens. This is taking time. It may sound as if it's getting really boring and stale, but this is the real nitty-gritty part of the story now. The real story is going to emerge. Let there be no doubt about that, because there is no room in life for people who commit such atrocities as what happened to Jay Slater. And regardless of his family not sticking up for him in any shape or form or demanding justice, there are people out there who will. And as we all say, this may take time, but we are not going to get distracted by the hurlers on the ditch who continue hurl abuse, hiding behind fake profiles and just generally trying to disrupt the conversation. We're not going to buy into that. You're not going to provoke us, no matter what you say or no matter what you do. And despite the fact that you keep screaming it off the rooftops that we're only in it for clicks and money, far from it. We're still here. We're still here looking for justice, while the likes of the hurlers on the ditch, all they can do is shout abuse behind these fake profiles they invent and hide behind YouTube and everywhere else. None of them have got the balls to come out and send an email. Why? Because they would get exposed for what they really are. And these are what we have to deal with. But we're not going to get distracted. We're going to keep going. We're going to pursue justice for Jay Slater, even if anybody else isn't. If you like what you see, folks, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It helps more people find our channel. Catch us next time when we'll have another edition of emails from you as we pursue and keep pursuing justice for Jay Slater. I'm Dan. Talk soon.